I'll talk about that all the time, but
I know.
I know. All right. Everyone, welcome to the final Outlander read-along installment, whatever it is. Waiting for everyone to pop up here. Welcome for our discussion about Go Tell the Bees That I'm Gone. Oh boy, do we have a lot to talk about. This is another one where I have so many questions from the Reddit to go through, and I don't know how many we'll get to or what we'll go over because I don't know. There's so many things to talk about, but at the same time, I feel like less stuff happens in this one than in the previous one, mostly because we're basically in the same timeline for everybody. It helps that we went from 3 different timelines down to 1. That definitely helps a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah. Hey, Lisa. Hey, Ruth. Welcome. We're so glad to have you. We will, as I said, let's start with what we're reading. We'll give people a couple minutes and then we'll get started. But yeah, what are you reading right now, Amber?
I'm trying to still finish my buddy read that we're doing tomorrow. It was kind of a tough go for me, so that'll be interesting. I just finished the last Mortals After Dark book that I needed to read, which was Untouchable, but it's also the other name. But I got the Untouchable one because it was the audiobook, and I listened to that today real quick, so I really liked it. So I'm getting further in. I'm seeing what you're saying about Lothair because he's teased more in each of these last 2 books. So I'm excited. So I have to get to Elliot Rose's book because I haven't read that yet. I think it's Taming the Heart.
Girl.
Yeah, so I got to read that. I have too much to read.
I really don't mean to complain, but
did you read it already?
No.
Oh,
I don't, and I'm not going to get to it in time because there's 5 books out on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And all of them, I got them the same day. And so I'm I'm sorry, y'all, but I can't get to all of you. So I'm going to start with the smallest author's book because I want to promote the smallest author's book. Jillian Eliza, her book is the smallest book.
It's that fantasy series, one, right? Yeah. Is it the second part to it?
Yeah. And I'm going to be interviewing her now. I was reached out by her PR to interview her. And so I'm not doing the interview till May 1st in the afternoon. Because I was well, I want to make sure I get to it.
Yeah.
And read it before the interview. I don't have to have read it before the interview, but I want to. And I got both Anna Huang's and Taming the Heart, and there's one other one too, which now I can't remember, but they all are the same day. And I'm just why
do they do this?
Yeah. Well, luckily I did read his Juliet ahead of time, so that one's out of the way. But I'm just they all came the same day. Oh, what's the other one? Well, then on the 1st, Exposed Ink comes out, the Nikki Ash. And for some reason, that one wasn't getting sent to my Kindle. Actually, I had to go back and forth with the person for 8 emails because I did get a new Kindle email address because both my phone and my Kindle are new now. So I had to send them a new address. But I was able to send myself stuff, and I have their stuff in my Amazon. They're have you done this? I'm I know you're just questioning me because this is what other people would mess up, but I've been doing this for 8 years and I'm telling you, it's not coming through. So eventually I was I'm sorry, I guess I can't, I'm not being snarky. I was I'm sorry, I guess I can't review the ARC because I don't have it.
Yeah.
And then literally today it came through. It's 3 days after they tried to send it to me. So, I mean, it's not their fault, but it's also, it took 3 days. So anywho, all these
I had that happen with Brooke Montgomery's ALC, because I saw her post on Facebook about sending it. I'm I never got it. So I emailed and she was oh, I sent it, and it went to I got her previous emails, but for some reason that one went to my spam folder in my Outlook, and I was because I was way behind, and I'm oh crap, I thought I didn't even get it. So it was it was so weird.
Right. Well, and then what else was I going to say with it? Yeah. And then, so for that, I'm going to prioritize Jillian's book, and then the other ones, honestly, okay, I'll stop whining about this in a second, but it kind of stinks because with Anna's book, I wanted to read it early. I wanted to read King of Envy early because we had to sign an NDA for that one because it's going to be a really big deal. And so it's well, if I don't read it before it releases, having an NDA was like, why did I do
Yeah.
that? But her audiobook will come out the day it comes out. And so I'm like, I kind of would rather just
Have
wait
the
till Tuesday and binge it because
Yeah.
I'll get through the audio. Like, it's a big one. That one's like 540 pages. So I kind of want to wait, but also I don't. So I don't know. I'm gonna
Yeah.
read, and also I have all my patron books. Like, Jesus, I have 4 that I have to read this month because
I know. I think you still have to read mine because I was like, I wonder if she read mine yet. Like, and I was like, I can't imagine the stress of like having to read all the Patreon, all the arcs.
Yeah. I gotta stop being worried about it because
Yeah,
when
because we
I
don't
was
care.
a part of I know. When I was a part of a Patreon, like they usually my person only sent them out twice, like every other month. Like she would
Mhm.
do one every month, but then she would mail them every other month. And so, I mean, I don't really want to start doing that, not because I don't think people would be okay with it, but because mentally it's like too much for me to worry about if I've sent them or not. But yeah, there's
Yeah.
4 that I haven't read this month. So I have to read those honestly before like arcs because I'll
Well,
just wait.
and then I got like arcs like and ALCs that are like coming out the first, and I'm like, okay, well now I need to read those because I want to be ready for like just to focus on the Mafia readathon. So I'm like, so I was trying to pick like more audios too for the readathon, like
Yeah.
to prepare because I'm like, what am I gonna have time for?
That's literally what I did. If people
Yeah.
want to TBR, is I picked 4 books that are audios because I'm like, that's the way to do
Mhm.
it. Anywho, let's go through some of people's comments. So basically all that yakking everybody, I'm reading The Wingman, which is my Patreon book of the month, which I need to get to. And then I am going to start The Reckoning. So that'll be the E arc that I read, and I'm reading The Wingman. But I'm looking at my stack of books and I'm like, don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it. Like
Don't
the book
forget it.
is getting out, and then but it is because like Mafia is starting and I want to read the Mafia ones
Mhm.
and not have to worry about our physical books that I have to read. So it's a thing. But that's what
Yeah.
I'm doing. So let's see what everyone's doing. Oh, hello, Jen. You're not reading Outlander. Well, that's okay. We're not actually doing sprints this Jen. You can absolutely don't have to be reading Outlander to watch it, but for Outlander Readalong, this is actually book club tonight. So we're not reading it. We're going to talk about it. So this one won't be sprints, but I do have there are like 8 different sprints coming up soon because we'll be doing Mafia readathon, and you don't have to read Mafia while we're reading that. So there's going to be a bunch of sprints coming up in the next week, but this one, it's probably going to be 2 to 3 hours talking about this specific book. So definitely welcome to read along, or read while we're doing it, but that's what we're going to be doing tonight. Hi, Jessica. Hello.
Hey.
Hello. It has been a ride, Amanda. Oh my word. We're ready to get into it. I'm so excited. Hi, you'll read Bees. You read it too soon and didn't take notes. Oh, okay. We were just talking about that, Christina, before we came on.
I swear that's happened to me the last couple of times is I'm like, oh, I read it too far back and I don't remember anything.
Yeah. And Ruth, you get things done when you get it done. Yes, I know, Ruth. I know. You guys make me feel better, but the problem is my brain doesn't let me do that. Like I tell people, like it doesn't matter if the people who support me tell me I can take my time. Like I don't rest well if I haven't. Like I really appreciate it because then when I am late, I know it's okay, but like I don't sleep well when I look at the books and I'm like, I have to get to this because then you're just behind on the next month, you know? So it was a whole thing. And this was the first month too that like I needed to get my work done for Noelle too, because I was like, oh my God, I have to get this book done for her by the end of the month too. So she's paying me to get stuff done as well. So, all right. Before we go, everybody, I have my last shot of whiskey here that I plan to drink for the next couple months. But here we go. And this time I have a chaser of a mojito because gosh, this stuff hurts. I can feel it all. But
And I'm just going to stick with the wine.
Yep. Swatch, everybody. I imagine
that's why I can't do that. I can't.
I imagine that's what Jamie's fresh whiskey tastes like. I did it wrong. I breathed in while I did it. So I'm literally crying right now. There we go. Wakes me up and gets the blood flowing. You'll see all the blood flowing here. think the last couple of times I haven't actually done a full shot worth, and I kind of filled that one up a little bit much.
That was high too. That was full.
Great advertisement. I mean, some people like it to burn.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was thinking it's been on the shelf a long time now. I've had it since 2022, I think. So it's been on the shelf a while. But anyway, now that we've wasted some 15 minutes here, well, not wasted. It's good to chat. But let us get into this. So here is our question we always ask to start. Who was the first time? Who was the second time? I know some of you who have like read all the others hadn't read this one yet. But how was it for everybody?
I thought it was good. I thought it was pretty easy to get into. I immediately wanted to get into their reunion, so so I thought it was really easy to get into. It was really long with like a bunch of side characters where I kept getting distracted and trying to like, who is this? Like, who's this person? So that was like getting me confused. And I was listening to the audiobook and trying to go fast. So I think that was kind of my problem too. But I really enjoyed it. I mean, I got emotional, so I had a good time with this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this one, I agree. I think this one reads the easiest because it's obviously linear.
Yeah.
Compared to the other ones, particularly the last couple. But this is also the book that has the least amount of like Claire chapters of all of them, in my opinion. I don't know what the percentage is because I didn't add them up, but to me, this one has the least amount of Claire passages, and it does have more Jamie than a lot of other ones, which is nice. And I love all of the Ian ones we get as well. But I do, like I was saying, I didn't skim a lot. I did skim a bit of William's, but there's a lot of stuff with William that's important, so I tried not to. But like his stuff with, I'll just say it, his stuff with like John Cinnamon, I don't care. Like nothing wrong with John Cinnamon, but I don't care. His stuff with like Amaranthus and like Brianna and with like that's important to me. But with the John Cinnamon storyline, maybe one of you guys, when we get there, will tell me why that's so important. But to me, I was like, why are we doing this? Like, we got to know.
Yeah, is he like a character from like the Lord John Grey books or something? Because I thought I read that somewhere. Because I was like, are we supposed to know this guy? Like, I felt like I didn't remember him or something. Yeah. But I don't know.
Because of how many years it says John was like paying for his school and everything. Yeah. So like, I'm sure. And that's why he thought he was like his kid or whatever. But love all the Jamie P. I know we get so much time in his head, and we're gonna get into it. I love the Jamie stuff.
I did think like I always struggle with the William stuff because some of it's just like when he was like gonna get robbed again or attacked again with his horse situation. I'm like, seriously, how does he always get himself in these situations?
I know. Does everybody reading, like, this is going off my plan because we can do what we want. Does anybody like William more by the end of this one? This is his like really grow up one, in my opinion. I like William a lot by the end of this one.
Yeah, I liked him more. I liked him a lot more. He had some time to deal with his anger issues and how he felt about Jamie, but it's still an uncomfortable thing for him. It's a struggle, which is understandable.
Yeah. One thing I guess I could say, I think part of the purpose of John Cinnamon is to show someone who's excited to find their dad.
Yeah.
Because, in like William, it's supposed to show like he'd be upset. He was upset that this could possibly be John's son. And that he wasn't John's son, and that this guy, which I mean, he always knew he wasn't John's son. He was his stepfather, if anything else. But to find out that he, was Jamie's son, and to see someone be so excited to, he wants to send a picture to his father. He wants him to know about him, but he doesn't want to. Like, to see someone who is very like that, I think that could be John Cinnamon's purpose in William's life. And I think we see it, I mean, and I think, of course, the best parts of his moments are when he's spending time with Brianna, like, because he's not going to be disrespectful about Jamie to Brianna. So he's kind of forced to listen. And, she also, like, him and her are parallel in a lot of ways. Like, this is the thing of Jamie. He didn't get to raise either of his kids. He didn't raise either of them. And, like, she also found out Jamie Fraser was her kid. Well, that is one of the questions we'll get into, is like how similar they are. And I think that it's just good for him, you know. But anyway, I liked him more and didn't sigh as much. Yes, this is true. This is true. So I say, like, we still spent too much time with him, in my opinion. But
yeah. I felt that. Like, I was like, can we go back to Jamie and Claire?
Yeah.
It's like William again.
Yeah, but he's not as annoying. So yeah, William rests for a while and looks up with an alligator eyeing him from a few feet. I know. William is just, he's a little bit cursed.
He's like a disaster, and you're not expecting that being Jamie's son, because Jamie's so like good at everything that you're just like, oh,
well,
okay,
he is of the peerage, and he was raised with a silver spoon. So, you know, we know that all the way back when like Jamie tried to teach him manners when he was little, because he wouldn't have got away with it anywhere. But anyway, as a reread, this read really quickly for me, and like I still made it. I purposely made it take about 5 days, but that's kind of the fastest I've read some of these. I mean, except for Voyager, which I've shared. Like, I didn't even finish our reread of Voyager because I had too much going on. This is one of the fastest ones I reread because I just loved it. I love all the stuff that's going on. I love whenever we're on the ridge, like surviving. And there's so much of that going on. So it was great.
Like, I just love them all being reunited and back on the ridge. Like, I loved that. Like, I wanted more of the reunion, you know, because it was like kind of left like at the cliffhanger, and I wanted more of it. But I mean, that was just me wanting more of them.
Yeah. I mean, we did get a good amount of it. Like the first like, 10 chapters are everybody getting to have their moments with everybody, which is good. Before we go, sorry, I'm pulling up so I can copy and paste these in here so I don't have to say anything. But was there a new favorite character for anybody? Did anybody have a new favorite character in this one? Hi, Vanessa. Welcome.
Trying to think.
I looked at how long parts 4 and 5. I know, Ruth. So that was the thing too. I know not everybody uses the Discord, but usually there's like 10 to 15 parts of the book, and this one's only 5 parts. So I was just like making a bunch of parts really quick, and then I was like, oh, there's only 5 parts. Like, what the heck?
That's what surprised me too, because I'll go to like the look at all the parts in the book, and I'm like, wait, but it's so long. How is it only the 5 parts or whatever? Rearrange my office.
Oh, you can't hear us. Oh, I'm sorry about that. It's okay. I really liked Francis. Yes. Francis was great. I really like Mrs. Cunningham. She was interesting. She's so interesting. And it was funny because I forgot how much I dislike her in the beginning because I liked her at the end of this. I just think her and Claire are like opposites, but the same in a lot of ways. And
yeah, that's what kind of surprised me, because I was like, I did not like her. And then by the end, she just becomes there's so much more to her character. And then the way her and Claire could like kind of coexist and kind of bond in a way and be there for each other, but be completely different. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Oh, Vanessa says hello. Hi there.
Hi, Vanessa.
Okay, so Jenny is not a new character, but I liked getting this one with her. Yes, she's so good.
It was so cool to see Jenny like on the ridge and like just with all those people that she hadn't really got to be around, you know, like to see her in that environment.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry, Ruth. I don't check it enough, and then I'm like behind. So I feel like with earlier books, people did better with them, but I apologize. I feel like there isn't a good option for a chat space because like a lot of people who do the readathon with us, they don't use Discord, and they can't really create a chat space just like on YouTube. So you have to get people to be willing to move to a different platform, and not everyone will. So sorry about that, but I do like chats. They don't always work. So here's something we'll get into at the beginning here. Did you notice any consistencies in characters' backstories and things that we've been told? I have 3 specific ones pulled out, but I'm just wondering if anyone noticed. This isn't a quiz, but Diana definitely forgot stuff. And she says some things as fact in here that are not fact.
I can't remember who it was, but I think it's like specific characters like that supposedly Claire had never met or something. I thought that was one, but
there is one. That's one of them. Yeah. There's two other things too that are kind of big things. The character that she wouldn't have met that she meets, that one's not so big, but there are two kind of big things that she like changes how they were. So just wondering if anyone listening, if you know them, then there may be more, but there's 3 specifically that are like well known by people and like I really, but see if anyone knows.
See if anybody else knows, because I probably don't.
Yeah, because there's some main ones. So yeah, the character one you're mentioning is Claire has met Scotchy Cameron before, the Indian agent. Yeah. She met him just in book 6, which granted is a few years back, but it is like well known that she met him because it was at like River Run, I think, that they meet, and we can talk about it because he's the Indian agent like after Jamie. Like it's a thing, it's known. So it's funny when she says Claire's never met him. And then the 2 other big ones. The first one that comes up is in the beginning when Buck is talking about, or not Buck, when Roger's talking about what happened with Buck and like, and Roger says that he didn't know who Buck was when he was getting like, when all that stuff happened, and he absolutely did, because he knew who Morag was and he knew who Buck was. So that's a bit of an inconsistency because he absolutely knew who his relative was. That's kind of the point of why, like when Buck just shows up in their current time, like he knows immediately who he is. Yeah. So what are you saying here? Now, the only thing that I would point out, and I haven't seen anyone mention this like in the Discord, not Discord, I keep wanting to say Discord, in the Reddit. I personally wonder if he doesn't know him now because something in history changed. And so now his memory of that has changed. That's never brought up. But I wonder that, because maybe I'm giving Diana too much credit, though she deserves a lot of credit. Is that supposed to show that something changes a bit in the past? Because now that he's like left, like they leave Buck because they don't think he could travel. Is there a reason why now he wouldn't have known him when he did? Like, that's my theory on that one, if it wasn't just a mistake. Because what does it mean now? Like, I didn't put this in my questions, but one of the discussion questions on Reddit too was like, did Buck just stay with Galis, or did he just stay at that time and he's good? Like, what does this mean? So there's that. And then the third one, and this to me is kind of a big one, and it's one that a lot of people will point out if they're asked, and that is that Jamie, when he sees a picture of Frank, says, "Why didn't you tell me that Frank looked like Blackjack?" And she absolutely did tell him that. It happens in book 2, and it's in a quote of like, she says, she's like, one of the reasons why I initially wanted to trust him is because he looks like Frank. And that's one of the reasons too why Jamie hates Frank so much back then, is because he was his tormentor. So to have Jamie then be like, you never told me you looked like Frank, and her to be like, oh, well, I didn't think of it. It's like, no, you absolutely told him.
I was noticing that, and I was thinking, I was like, wait, am I misremembering from like the show? And that's what I was thinking, like when I heard that, but I'm like, I thought she told him.
No, she absolutely did. So it would have been one thing if the conversation had been like, I forgot you said they look so alike. So when I saw this picture, it really like struck me. And she could have been like, yeah, I told you. And he was like, well, that was a dark time in our lives, so I don't remember. Like that could have been it. But straight up accuses her of like not telling, and her being like, it didn't seem important. And it's like, no, it was important. And yes, you did tell him. Because also us as readers, like if you have only ever read the books, you needed to be told that by Claire. You have her tell him, because you're not seeing
him.
So yeah, Lisa, it is it was a little off. So those are the 3 main ones that, although I'll be honest, the only one that I remembered was the BJR one. It was going through the Reddit. I was like, oh yeah, I did notice that. But I definitely remembered the one about Frank, because I remember the first time reading it of being like, That's wrong, Diana. What are you doing? Like, we absolutely know that. But okay. So let's get into some of these more one by one here and start going through, because there's plenty to talk about in this one. So starting with our reunion and everybody getting cozy with everyone, what did we make of their reasonings for why they returned to the 18th century? Because their explanation was much more complicated to me than how it felt in the book the first time. Like, I feel like they decide to go back because they want to be with her family. And they're also like, it is dangerous in our time. It's dangerous there. Why don't we at least be with them so we're all together?
Mm-hmm.
And the way that Roger's like explaining it, it just feels like they had a lot more calculation that went into it. I don't know. It felt weird.
Yeah, because that's kind of like what I just took from like why they went back. Because they couldn't really go back to their time with the danger going on. And then they wanted to be with, Jamie and Claire and all that stuff. So that's kind of what I took. And then, like, I don't know. It was kind of confusing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was strange to me too. Because then a question doing with that is that they talk about how it was actually like really difficult for them this time.
Yeah.
And that they were a bit lost. And I found this to be kind of interesting too, is that how do you think Mandy is more connected to the 18th century when she was only a baby when they left? She didn't even know fully who Jamie is. Which of course I have a theory on that, but it is interesting if you think about it, if you have to like think of a certain place to go.
Yeah. And she was like feeling Jamie and she was more guided to Jamie. How is she like able to feel him more? Like, and does she have more of that ability or whatever with the time travel? So she was able to connect more since she can feel her brother and could sense where he was. She could, like, she helped to guide them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And to me, I think it's two parts of it. Number one, I think they both have a more of a knowing of just those things. And I'll be very interested. I don't know how long, we'll follow them, but I'll be very interested to see the type of people that those two are.
Yeah.
Those two are. But I also think it does have to do with the stories, because they say they read those stories to him over and over and over. And so they do have this feel of like who their grandfather was.
Mm-hmm.
And because, Mandy, like you can't really guide the child the same way, that you can, an adult can choose. But we know even Roger had trouble. Like he didn't steer exactly the way he wanted to in the past. He thought about his father for the wrong second and went somewhere else. And you have all four of them pulled in different directions. Her kind of starting the chant of like, that's where they want to go. They were able to focus on it, which I mean, I love it, but yeah. I mean, yeah.
I always find it odd too, like how like Jamie can dream of them in their time too. So I'm like, maybe she's had those kind of like connections to him too. I don't know. Like it's just so like, how is Jamie able to dream of them like in their time?
No, and I think there's a connection forged because he doesn't truly like dream of true stuff that isn't connected to his family. Like he dreams of other things, but they're not always true. But when he dreams of his family in the field, like he dreams true things when he dreams them. He sometimes has false dreams about other things that don't happen, which thank goodness for that. But anyway, moving along, we can come back to them sometime. But this is a great part. Here we go. What did you think of Brianna bringing 20th century books back? Do you think that could get them in trouble? But also, how cool was it that she brought the Lord of the Rings back?
I loved that, but I was like, okay, wait, this is so risky. Like, same thing with like Claire bringing back the pictures of Bree. Like that was kind of pretty risky, but I was okay with it because I wanted Jamie to see his daughter. But I was like, that's really risky. But I loved that they brought back the Lord of the Rings. Like, I was like, that's amazing.
I totally forgot that I love it so much. I just love it so much that they did. And how he's like, what type of book is this? Like all that.
Yeah.
And I think it's okay. Here's my reason, because it's true. Like if you take out the copyright page, how does anyone know what it is? Like people made their own books like at home in some aspects too. If you had paper, you could. And you could have a press print just what you wanted them to print all the time. People did that all the time. So yeah, I think it's risky, but I also think like, honestly, I think the Lord of the Rings ones are less risky than the medical book.
Like yeah, like in the Frank book, like didn't have like a different kind of like cover too that wasn't, so that's the only thing I was like, oh, that's
yeah. And that is why like that's the one that gets hidden too. Like they hide like that one. So yeah, that could be dangerous because she didn't have to leave like the cover on that, you know, like you could take the cover off of it, but
yeah.
I mean, it's also a way to bring a photograph without a photograph too. Like it's fair if you want to see her dad, like that's okay. But honestly, as I said, I think the Lord of the Rings are less risky than the medical text, which has like some futuristic health things in it. Whereas like, again, the Lord of the Rings is a fictional story. Like the Morte Arthur, I think was around way back then, you know, like there are fantasy stories already. They just weren't in a, you know, paperback cover or anything that they were poems are on like vellum skin or something like that. But I love it. I think those are such cute things.
And I love how Jamie wanted to like read them with the family and like all do that together. And it was just really cute.
Love it. And the tools with the craftsman and printing. Yes, this is true. She definitely should scratch those things off. Scratch off the maker's mark. Which, speaking of maker's mark, I think that's so funny about like the thing Jamie makes for the ladies, like lady bits, that he puts his initials on it. And Claire's like, honey, this is used in a rather intimate place. You might want to take your initials off. That's a random side note. I love cute little moments like that because I'm like, that is so funny. Oh, that's so funny. All right, here. So, do you think it was right of Fergus and Marsley to send Germaine to the Ridge? Do you think that they did that for him or for themselves?
I think it was a good thing to do to kind of get him away from that situation, even although it's so difficult because then he feels like he was sent away and he already has so much guilt and that they needed to like send him away. So it's like, it was good, but also bad, you know, for this poor, your heart breaks for him for what he went through. And so like when they get back together again, it just is like, it's just.
I know. The letter that they wrote him is like the worst.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the best part. But
yeah.
When she like calls him like that and he's just like, oh, she missed me. And they're like, yeah, we knew. They were like grieving and just needed a minute. Like, I think it was good. I think it was good. I also, I don't have too many, I do have some stuff about Fergus and Marsley in these notes, but I'm just really happy for them because Fergus has found a place where he can be ambitious and he can fight and he can use his skills, which is with the press and with the, you know, honestly, a little bit of sneaking around, a little bit of like espionage. And honestly, like that may feel more dangerous, but it's better, like not, it's better for his mental health and for his like family to do that. Though I do think that, I mean, at some point sending at least the kids away, I think it will be a good idea. Like one of my guesses for like, I have this at the end, we'll talk about guesses for future books. I think that the youngest kids should go to the Ridge, which I mean, they do like send them
at the end of this one or whatever.
Right. But that like, I can see Germaine staying with his, like being with his parents and it just being the younger kids at the Ridge. Cause Germaine's getting old enough that they can't really keep him there anyway. I mean, he already ran away with the army at one point. So yeah, it was really hard. Like, that's just, I don't think there's any right answer for that. I think they did the right thing by him.
Yeah.
So this is referring to the craftsman tools, digging up 2-year-old. Yeah, I love that. I mean, it was sad that he was sent off, but it didn't feel like a malicious thing. Oh, yeah. It was all in his sweet little head that he thought it was bad because his parents just needed some time. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, it's a lot. And I think where Jamie was right about it is that I think he would have ended up acting out if he was still at home. Like his parents struggling and him like wanting to do stuff. I think it would have been more dangerous for him to be like acting out in the city where there's stuff
Yeah.
going on. Then it's like bring him to the farm, have him be with his like cousin and like with everyone. And it's just good for you. So I love that.
Yeah.
I get the reasons for Jermaine going, yeah, I know, it's so sad. And I mean, the Ridge has really become, you could see why it feels like banishment. Yeah. The Ridge really becomes like the island of misfit toys in a lot of aspects. Like they just taken everybody, like taking the sex worker and her children, taking all the different religions of everybody. I mean, granted, it's going to get Jamie in a little bit of trouble eventually to have so many of these. But I love that it's just become that.
It's like a safe haven for a lot of people to be able to go to.
Exactly. We love to see it. There's just those people though who want to take the hospitality but want to turn it into something bad that we'll get to. But okay. Do you agree with Jamie's statement that anyone allowed to live who'd taken a part in the assault of Claire would make people under Jamie's protection feel less safe?
I completely agree with Jamie here because like I know Claire felt guilty, like having him go after that guy and she didn't really want it to happen. But like he brings up, what was his name? That was like the other traveler. It's like out of my head now. Was it Wendigo or when they let him, when he came back and look what happened. And it's like, so if he doesn't go after the people and he's, had said, we're going to kill them all, and lets them go, like he's not going to look like he's protecting his wife, let alone like the people at the Ridge.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's good. I think in his head, we get the perspective at one point where he's like, I would have done it if it was to anybody under my protection. And like in his head, he's thinking, he's like, I mean, it's specific because it's my wife, but I would, and it's true. Like, I just think of like, if this happened to, well, everybody on the Ridge is his family, right? But like, if it happened to any of the women who live there, he would have said they all needed to die because that's it. It's just that Claire feels the guilt. And he's like, it's always been, always, since she first told him about the Hippocratic Oath, he's like, I will be your blade. Like, I will be your blade. But also, he is the Laird of the Ridge, and no one is allowed to feel under threat, And that kind of evil in people, it doesn't matter. He doesn't have to see the compassion for the guy who's missing his wife or being this or whatever. He's like, no, you did this thing. It's a thing that Jamie would never do to someone or so therefore, like, you're done. Like, maybe you're not an evil person, but like, you're done. And
like even Roger was active in that. And it's like, you never would have thought you'd see Roger do something like that. But, they had to protect everybody.
Yeah, they need a 3-story house to fit all the families. Yes, I know, Ruth. I love it. I love it so much. It's true for everybody. Like, it makes me so happy. Yeah. Why do you think Jamie needed to tell Roger about killing that man? I won't pull that question up. I mean,
I think that what's so amazing with like the last few books is how Roger and Jamie's relationship has evolved. Like that's one of my favorite things. And like he just really needed to talk. I feel like he needed to talk to somebody that was going through the same thing that he was, and he can go to Roger for those kinds of things. Like I think that's why Roger's so good at what he does, is like people feel like they could go to him and get his counsel and just like his support. And so I just love all those conversations between Jamie and Roger.
Me too. And I think it also reinforces too that like Jamie saw what the purpose of him being a minister, pastor was, or being that, back when he was like, just tell me what you want to do. Like, tell me what will fulfill you and we'll make it happen. This was even before Jamie felt as kind towards Roger as he does now, right? Like, oh, there's such a good, like, both Ian and Roger, I'm telling you guys. Like, specifically, there's a scene, right? Oh gosh, I'm gonna cry right now. Where when Ian pops up after the trip and after all the stuff has went down, like Jamie's hurt, and he sees Ian, and it's like, oh, Ian's back. Like, we all are just so happy he's back. Because those are the two men. I mean, Fergus too, but Fergus isn't the physical muscle to help with this. But those are the two men that he can trust equally with anyone's life that he would with his. That he doesn't question their loyalty or worry they'll think something different or that they'll second guess him. Like, they will do what he needs. And I think we literally see that. Oh gosh, I'm getting too deep into it now. We're going to keep going with this train of thought. But we literally see that when we see Roger dealing with the situation and we see Ian dealing with the situation, and we see how both of these men are influenced by Jamie.
Yeah.
You know, Roger with how he's being a, minister, yet also staying there during like a war to be there. Because it's like, this is your calling and the service you can provide is this. And so he's there. And then Ian, when he's going on this journey with like scooping up people everywhere he goes, like he leaves people and he comes back with like 8, 9 of them. That's so Jamie Fraser of him to like come home with all these people, right? And when he says to him, like, I want you to find and do right by this person. And when he's like, the way I can do right is bring her home. So we're bringing her home. Like, that's so Jamie. And I love that Ian does that, right? Anyway, so I think we see how Jamie has just influenced everyone around him. It's just so good. Okay, here we go. And this is especially important for those people who watched the last season of it and we're like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
And I said, just wait till we read this book because they're making shit up. Okay, they're making shit up. I'll touch this first. I thought the same thing that Ian collecting people. I know his trip, man. He goes away with 4 and he comes back with 20 people. It's fantastic. Okay, so let's get into this question a little bit because this gets touched on relatively early into the book. Okay, like we get to this question of Claire wondering if Master Raymond could have saved Faith. And that is why she asked Ian to look into who this couple was, who their parents were or whatever.
Yeah.
And Ian's like, sure, Auntie, I'll go to a brothel and question people for you. Sure, I'll do that. And I just don't think that. Now, sure, Diana could twist our heads however we want, but like, even with that thing where he's saying like, I'm sorry about this or whatever, because I think even Claire's speculation is what she thinks that he was able to like it still doesn't make any sense because there is no point in time where Faith, the infant, is alive outside of Claire's body. So it isn't a case of like, if I caught it at the right time, I could save the baby and then he whisked her away. She's still born. She's dead when she comes out. And so like what is the point in time that he could have went to get it? Like, that's my whole thing. Even the people speculating is I was like, I know we're trying to say that he could have healed the baby and then, we
and she was too early. So like at that time, like in our time, should be a preemie and there would be all this stuff to keep her alive. So how would that be possible?
Born, though. Like, she never breathed. She never breathed. So Claire couldn't have even have saved her in 1975. Like, she couldn't have saved her then either. Like, there's still babies stillborn now. Like, I always bring up one of my friends. It happened in 2019. They had a stillborn son. Like, sometimes you just can't do anything. So I understand in the book, it feels kind of natural to me because we see the grief that comes up from Faith in every book. Yeah. And when she finally uses the power to like save a baby, she's like, oh my gosh, is that what that blue light was when Master Raymond was here? I personally believe that blue light was him saving her. Like, I think the blue light was there because he saved her from death.
Because she had a really bad infection and she was like, and that's what she had thought it was originally. And I think she just like was going through a really bad grief and a bad moment. And she's kind of latching on to anything to deal with it. And I love the way Jamie kind of just like brings her back down. Like, no, like, and kind of they work through the grief together. And so that's what annoyed me about the show, because they left it as like this cliffhanger thing, which made it like crazier than what it was in the book of like, I felt like it was in there to kind of show her what her power, the blue light, and what she might be able to do, like working through the grief of Faith, then with the baby, and then what ends up happening at the end. I think that's what it was there for. But I was like, then that made it so crazy on the show. Like,
and there are still things she can't do. Like that's kind of the point. Like in the show, they left it as a cliffhanger to be like, get everyone back for the final season, which, as I've said, I'm fine with. But I personally think the next line out of Jamie's mouth will be like, no, honey, like, no, that's not what happened. And he'll talk her through it. Like, in this book, we do still see that there is this mystery in her head, but it's more the mystery of like what a grieving mother always hopes, like she will have those moments where she's like, if Faith was here, what kids would she have? Or she'd be 32. Like, she has, those are the natural things that a mother will have. And when she's coming full into her power, she then is like, well, what could I have used this for? She's having those moments, like, what could have been done? And I think what's shown too with that, like, blue light, the power, and her being able to save a baby, like, that baby was right on the cusp of it. Like, that baby was like still there in the room with us and able to use
still
that,
breathing, but like slowly.
And the same when Roger talks about how the throat was healed. That wasn't on someone who was dead. It was helping something that was there. And the same when Claire is healed by Master Raymond. I believe he healed her. That baby's already buried when he shows up. I'll stand by it. The baby was already like blessed and buried.
all the nuns that like loved her and like, and then like it's just, come on, we held. Didn't she hold her dead baby too? So it's like, what? So
well, let me tell you, because in the story time of it, the part, and even the show, like it will show this part. Like, she got to hold the baby when she came out, and then when they take the baby away, she falls into despair and falls into the fever. They'd already like taken the baby from her and buried her. And then after, she's like, I buried her in the cemetery and I gave her a name. And she says, I named her. Like, all that stuff happened while she was out. Master Raymond didn't come until after the baby. So I understand, because she didn't see that with her own eyes. He could have done it. And when she hears these things of like, my mom's name was Faith, I'm like, how many millions of people are named Faith? Right. And But again, I understand how Claire would need to like be reminded of that, because there's still always a part of her that will long for this child. Like, that's the point.
And they've talked about Faith all the time. Like, it never goes away. They continue to talk about her, just the same as like Jamie is constantly dealing with his trauma forever. It's like they still deal with Faith forever.
Yeah. Let's read. People agree with me here. Yeah. And I've made this argument ever since I watched where the show leaves it, because I was like, great, now I got to dig through this and prove to everybody that it's not true. And granted, I guess Diana could say, Whoopi, you're all wrong. But to me, I feel like she answers it in this one. Like, she answers it here. So if it's going to get brought up again in the show, like, she kind of said that in her chats and stuff with, was like, the show decided to do this. So if we're just going off of book, I think the evidence is pretty clear. We've sent Ian just to check and make sure with everything.
Yeah.
So Christina says here, I'm with you. Faith is not alive. Claire has thoughts that needed closure. Yes. But just like Jamie said to her, it's not real. Right. And I also think it's super powerful when she does save that baby, which, I mean, we'll get to that scene now. We've kind of jumped to that. But it's a powerful, like, cathartic moment, because she's able to save a baby who reminds them. And it's a beautiful moment because Jamie never got to see Faith. And he sees this baby and he's like, is this what she looked like? Like, that is what he's feeling. And instead of having to hand Jamie a dead baby, she brings the baby back. Like, that is her closure moment, is she saved a baby. It doesn't mean that because she saved this baby, Master Raymond saved a baby. Like, just doesn't mean
and then she was like, oh, is Master Raymond like one of my ancestors? And so like, that was interesting. But I'm like, just the way, I remember I went right to your review of the show because I was like, what the heck is this?
Well, and because they point out, sorry, and we'll move on from the show, you guys, I'm sorry.
Okay.
In the show where they say, like, they remind of him saying, I'm sorry, or one of those things, I personally think it's going to connect with Blood of My Blood. I think Master Raymond has something to do with why her parents are dead. And he's saying sorry to her. Like, that's what I think. And I think why the show puts that nibbit into that is because the next thing we're going to watch is Blood of My Blood. And they're adding all this stuff of like, they're showing the parallels of like Claire's parents and Jamie's parents. I think there will be a connection as to why her parents died. And that's what he's saying sorry for. That's what I think. And so Claire is thinking it has to do with Faith just because of that memory coming to her after she almost dies after the battle, and then seeing the, you know, the name of what Franny's mother, what, like, I think that's like, why she's but I think it has to do with, because we don't fully know where he's from or that stuff about him. Like, we don't know that. Yeah. And I think, again, just my guess, I think it will be about her parents will be what he is saying sorry for, maybe. Yeah. Because this is a mystery how we lost your parents. So anywho. Yeah. And then Ruth, yes, this is the last thing I'll say. This is what I said in my review too. If there was a third child that Jamie didn't get to raise because someone stole them, that is unforgivable for me. If Diana writes their story. If she writes that he missed out on every child, no. Yeah, because I would Master Raymond and go to save this child, but then not give the child back to them. Right. You know, like that didn't make sense either. It's like the whole thing. Anyways. Well, yeah, it's just there's so many knots that it would mean, and it's just, you know, anyway, that's my belief on that. So, okay, now we get to the scene that, in truth, is the only scene that I remembered fully, clearly, absolutely have not forgotten since I read it the first time, and that is the death of Amy Higgins. Oh my God. The most traumatic thing. One of the most traumatic deaths I've ever read in my entire life. And it was horrible. I like had to go back because I was listening to an audiobook. I'm like, no. And I like went back. I'm like, how did this happen? Because it was like, out of, you know, like Bree looks and she's gone. And then like the bear's like jaws on her head, you know, and I'm just like, oh my God, this poor woman. And then like her dying and like them bringing the kids, like, no, she, like Roger's like, they need to see her to like say goodbye, you know, like, oh, and poor Bobby, and just, I know, it's so horrible, so traumatic. I was like what the, it's the most painful death of a side character I've read since Finnick O'Dare. I was saying this to my sister. She's rereading the Hunger Games right now. Oh my God. And I'm literally like crying when it happens. She's like, what's wrong? And I was like, it's a character you don't even know. Because my sister's watching the show finally all the way through. Yeah. You don't even know her. Like, they don't even mention her. She's not a huge character, but right. But I'm like, but also she's been there since, you know, like way back, like since the Ridge was put together. Yeah. And you know, her and Bobby and their beautiful family, and then she just gets crushed. Yeah, because I love seeing Bobby get his like happily ever after, you know. I always loved Bobby. And then like to go through that, and then oh my God. It's so sad. It was just so bad. And then for Bree, where she's like realizing that could have been me. I was like literally like 5 feet away, and how dangerous this time is, like that, like anything could take you out. And to have like them explain that, like, but that also happens here. Like, it maybe it's going to be a bear, but it could be a car, or it could be, you know, an illness that can still happen here. And, you know, to me, that's the conclusion of this love of all of them, is that, like, it's better to be together. Like, that's all that you have is to be together. Because so what if you survive longer? If you're, you know, like, what if you're not together? So anyway, her death is so, like I said, so impactful to me. So sad. I remember that scene so clearly from when I read it. It was like 1 a.m. when the day the book came out, right? I'm reading it at 1 a.m, and I'm just like, oh my God, what is this? And I was at work listening to it, and I'm like, wait, no. I know, it's so hard. It's so hard. And poor Claire too, because she was like, couldn't do anything, you know, and she just felt like, I was waiting for when it came up too, because I'm listening to it, and I knew it happened in like the first third of the book, but I forgot where. And then when they were in the field, I'm like, oh God, this is it. Oh no, this is it. This is it.
And all the kids are there. Like, it's just
so
like.
I was doing reading sprints with Crystal, and I like stopped it and switched to another book because I was like, I'm not going to listen to this. But let's talk about what else the scene did, though, because this is the scene where I start to like Elspeth Cunningham. And this very powerful scene where she's like, you need to fix her face. And she's like, well, no, I'm just going to cover it. And she's like, no, this happened too fast. It's too abrupt. Speaking as someone who's lost someone quickly, like, you need to fix her face. Like, you can fix her face. Like, it's such a practical, like, very important moment. And I love how, like, Jamie agrees too, because he's like, I had to see my mom and the baby. I didn't believe it, you know?
Yeah.
And even though it is still disturbing and still painful, like, those kids won't believe that if they can't say goodbye, if they can't see her. And that, like, bit of insight from Elspeth, and also it's this moment, like, her and Claire just, like, work together without them needing to talk. And it really is, like, that weird connection they build because they still act like there's so much between them, or, like, keeping them apart. But that moment of, like, peace that they have of having a task, it's a really, like, important moment. Like, that is tough work to do.
Oh yeah, I can't.
So that's a tough one. And then just quick, like, do you think it was right that Jamie took Aiden with them to?
I do, because I think that's kind of what they did in that time. And it was about, getting the bear, getting that, the revenge, or, whatever, and kind of going after that and being part of the men and the group and stuff like that. I think it's still really traumatic, but
well, and Jamie raises it too, of like remembering what happened to his mom, because he's like, I couldn't get revenge against an illness that killed my mom, but you can from this. So it's a really powerful moment. Okay, switching gears, we still have some painfulness to deal with here. So Jamie decides to bring up a spat here and be angry over LGG again. So this is a question, like, do we think it's fair that he would hold it over her head? And how do you feel about how they kind of get some resolution between that? And
I think it's fair.
Hold on, let me finish. Which also leads to him finally, like, writing again, because he withholds his friendship from John.
I hate that. Like, it's just, that's like probably the worst part for me, is them like not having their friendship. But I get it. Like, Jamie's not going to be over it. And he told her, like, I'm going to, but like, it doesn't matter. He's like, it's going to be hard for me. I'm a jealous man. Like, I'm not going to be over this. And so, like, to expect him to be over it, sometimes I get frustrated with Claire, because she's like, gets pissed off. She's like, I didn't do anything wrong. And technically, okay, but you thought he was dead. But to Jamie, that's still like a betrayal, and so you did do. It's just hard for me, because I'm just such a Jamie, like, I'm like, I'd be like closed for business forever if, like, if I was with Jamie Fraser and he died. It's like, okay, I'm done. Like, and I love how they rehash it all too, because like, where he says, like, I love it where the part where he's like, says cruel things, and she's like, why would you say that to me? And it's like, so you could like hit me, and then like, because they get passionate, like, so I'm like, it's so Jamie and Claire.
He's like, I'm waiting for you to slap me.
So you could hit me, and then we could get physical, like we always do.
They were hornier than ever in this one. Those old people, all the time. I mean, it shows the difference of like when they're in their home, like they actually have doors that close, and they're not traveling in the army. Like, seriously, we're like getting it on all the time in here. Which, I mean, go get it. You get it, but
that's great.
There's so many like moments of it. It's just so funny.
Yeah, there's lots of moments of Jamie being like, I need you. Like, I need this now. Like, and so I just loved it.
Yeah. And then there's one where she's like, they're going to be coming in about 5 minutes. And he's like, I think I could do it fast enough. And he's like, you're not bending me over the table. You can wait till it.
Yeah.
She's like, I just love that. But anyway. Yeah. But what do we think? What does allow them to kind of move on from it? What do you think does that?
I don't know. It's like, is Jamie for sure over it? Will he be like ever over that?
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
know.
I think it has to do with like I think it has to do with John asking for Bree to come there.
Yeah.
Because him and John just know each other on such a different level, and to have Bree come there where he knows that they're gonna run into each other, like it's gonna happen in a
Mm-hmm.
and that who would be better to talk Jamie up to his son than Bree. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that Jamie sees that as the olive branch that it is. And
Mm-hmm.
when Jamie, like, he tries not to like influence her to go, but he's like, you could do this if you want.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I think that starts to help it
Yeah.
because he sees that like he's still kind of looking out for me. But it's also
Yeah.
for William too, because William's still in the struggle bus phase. And Bree's
Mm-hmm.
great. Like John knows what a great woman that Bree is too. So,
Yeah. I liked John and Bree's relationship too, so it's like,
Mhm.
it's just, you want Jamie and John to
I
to be
know.
good, I
I
just,
know. Well, yeah, we're skip ahead. I'm like, I hope he goes to help rescue him. I hope that's what we'll
yeah.
get at the end of it. I hope so. We'll see. We shall see. Yeah, so let's talk a bit. This is just one question about him, but let's talk a little bit about this character because for the life of me, I can't figure this character out, you guys. I don't understand him. So, what do we think of Captain Cunningham? And I mean, this question, remember, these questions are done in a group as they're reading it. So we've already finished it. So we know why he wanted the guns. But like, what did he
Yeah.
think he was going to pull off with this? Like, that's the thing about me is I'm like, who does this fool think he is? Maybe he thinks.
Yeah, and the way he came in at Jamie, it's like Jamie's like, no. I was like, who is this guy? Like, I was trying to, I'm like, and so I don't know.
I
That
just
whole
don't
thing was like really
understand.
frustrating.
Yeah, I just don't understand why any of them thought they should be tenants of Jamie's. Like, go get your
Yeah.
own land from the government that you like. Like, this is the
Yeah.
government you want to be on. Why don't you go do that? Why are you coming to his land,
Mm-hmm.
his tenant, and then trying to like edge him out? Like, it just makes it makes no sense to me that like he
Yeah.
gave you a place and you're gonna do this. And I don't know. It irritates me that he ever lets him there at all. Like, why? Like, make him go somewhere. And Jamie might use the
Yeah.
excuse of, like, I'd rather have my eye on him. And I'm like, yeah, but you're just making it more complicated because you're allowing
Mm-hmm.
him to win over some of your people. You're
Yeah.
allowing him to know some of your secrets and to be integrated into your family. Like, why are you doing that? Like, I didn't understand it better
Yeah.
this time either. Like, it was so annoying.
Yeah, I didn't get it. I was like, oh, is it going to be him like slowly winning over this guy and seeing
Yeah.
him like what Jamie really is? But that's not what's really happening. I thought there was some good scenes with like him and Roger where they were being really respectful of like that stuff. But I was like, I didn't really get this whole thing. I was like,
yeah. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. If you're gonna take issue with their politics or their religion, then just go somewhere with like-minded folk. Yeah,
yeah,
he literally was a colonel in the Continental Army. What do you think? Like, where do you think he's gonna side with?
yeah,
What are you doing here? It's just it's so frustrating. Like, I don't know. So anyway, I don't get this guy or what he's
mm-mm.
up here for. So, but here's this then. This is a good I think the church is such an interesting thing that they've put together here. So, why do you think Jamie declares so openly at the church services that he was starting a rebel militia on the rich?
I was
Because
like worried when he did that. I was like, oh man, he just like came right out. But I thought it was like a good commonplace for him to kind of speak about what like his plans were and what he was going to be doing, because it was kind of like the respectful like kind of area at the church, that they could all come together.
yeah.
But again, it always has such different groups that it was going to split everybody when he announces that. I was kind of like, whoa, he just went right out there and said it.
Yeah. I guess the other thing I would say, like, why he did it is their homesteads are all pretty spread out. And I think by him making himself known with it, if Cunningham, and I'm sure that he did, is going from like place to place and trying to recruit people, the people that do feel that they're on Jamie's side can feel strong in saying, no, I'm going to stick with my Laird here.
Yeah.
And even if you would say, well, you'll be on the opposite side, they can at least be like, yeah, but I'm going to stick with Jamie. So I think it does kind of not only like put people on notice, but it also can embolden the people who don't want to cave, but might have caved if they were being pressured by like, we're going to arrest you or do this. And it's like, yeah, but I'm on the Laird side and like, he's not going to let you help me. So I think that's good because now too, by him announcing that, it now makes Cunningham have to be the one who's secretive.
Yeah. Sneaking around.
Right. Like he doesn't get to come with the authority of like the king behind him. Well, he can try, but he doesn't get to come with that authority when Jamie's already said the Ridge is going to be putting forward a militia for our side. So that's where I think some of the political games might come with, because Jamie's bold like that. I mean, he definitely is.
Yeah. And he's just so straightforward and honest about everything, you know? So he's just going to give it to you. Like, this is what I'm going to do. So.
Yeah. Sorry. Okay. I'm not going to be able to help it, man. The yawns will come. It's a thing. Okay. This one. So, what do you think of the decision for the Murrays to go find work with her hands and her children?
I thought it was important for him to go. And I understood it. And I loved Rachel even more that she was not like jealous, although she was curious. But they're so solid and so good together that she didn't like. And I love that he took her and they all went together and went on that journey together. So I think it was important for him to go. And I thought it was good like closure for him too. And then everything that ends up happening there. But yeah. And I just thought that was great. It just shows how great Ian and Rachel are together. Like they're just so strong.
It also is very brave of her because friends aren't like legally married in any way.
Yeah.
They can literally say like, I divorced thee 3 times and leave. So that's not how Ian is looking at it, but that is how Rachel looks at it. You know, if you don't want to stay, if you're not going to be here, you won't. So I do like where she was like, do you think I'm going to let you go and like be there around her and her kid? Like, I'm coming with you. It's going to happen right in front of me. If anything's going to happen, it's going to happen right in front of me. And I really respect that. Even though all of us are like, it is the first time we really see Rachel being like self-conscious about anything. Like she is not self-conscious about anything like in her life. And, you know, she's feeling vulnerable. She's just had a baby and like it is a lot of work. Like they have a not Trevor. He's not Trevor. That's the other one. Augie is a lot of work and, you know, going to go see his like first love who
she's had to hear about, you know, and like know that whole story. You would be kind of intimidated and be like, okay, you know, with everything he went through and how hard he took that split. And
they talk about traveling 700 miles. Like it's I mean, their whole trip too. I mean, it takes a long time. That's the thing too. Both like Roger and Bree, they're gone for a very long time. And so are like Ian and Rachel. Like they have no idea when they'll be back. And they make all these side quests and you're just like back at the Ridge. Jamie worries multiple times. He's like, if I had Roger, Mac, and Ian, I would feel better about what's going on, but they're the only ones he can trust all the way.
Yeah.
Even the men he trusts, like Bobby Higgins and them, like they're not the same. Like they don't know him, you know? And so like that is, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah. And it was like also altering what decisions he was going to make with like the stuff that comes later is like, well, I don't want to leave. Like there's different things where he can't leave the Ridge like unattended because Ian isn't there and, you know, Roger isn't there.
Yeah. He can't do those things. Do you think Frank was aware of Jamie and that's who he is talking about in the book?
Oh, Frank.
I think this book is so cool. Okay. I'm not going to lie. I love the amount of conversations with Frank that Jamie has. And one of the questions, we're not even to it, but when we get the sachem back, says the ghosts that follow us around.
Yeah.
I was like, sometimes the ghost is with Jamie and sometimes he's with you. I truly think is awesome. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I truly think it's kind of awesome. And this is the book. So this is why, like, I've kind of been holding things back this whole reread. It's like, this book truly does win a lot of Frank over to me. Now, I know we still get mad because it's like, was he ever going to tell her? Was we ever going to do these things?
Yeah.
But I definitely think with this story, it proves to me that, like, Frank knew kind of what was going to happen. Not only have we had hints of that, of what he taught Brianna and what he did in this book that was written, and how he specifically focused in on things that, like, they needed to know.
Yeah.
And that would be very, like, there. No, do I still, like, forgive kind of the things he did to Claire? Like, I almost forgive them more now, and I'll tell you why. I think, like, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to make him out to this completely selfless, perfect guy. Of course not. But I don't think that I feel as much anger at him for, like, cheating on her and things when he, like, knows when he dies, she's going to go back, you know, like, like, she's literally biding her time with me here. And so I feel less butthurt about him cheating with whoever he wanted, because it's like, yes, he probably didn't know all this stuff right away when he first started doing that. But I also think he doesn't try to fix things with her because he's like, I don't want her to feel so devoted to me. She's coming back. Like, I don't know. Maybe I give him too much credit, but he wrote a whole effing book about the Scots in the back. Like, he literally wrote that book for them. Like, he wrote that book for them.
Well, and then Jamie's like, is he effing with me? Like, does this really happen? Or is he, like, messing with me? Is this, like, a message to me? And I just love how Jamie, like, was, like, going full into it. You know?
He asked, he's like, what kind of man was he? Like, is he the kind of man who wants to mess with me, or is he trying to help with me? And I think when the, like when the sachem says, like, he felt like, I think he's looking out for them. Like, I see it. Like, I do. I see it. He's looking out for them.
Well, because Claire was like, because he was like, would he report something that's, you know, like, and she's like, no, he was a historian. He's only going to report, like, facts, and he wouldn't, you know, do anything shady that way. So.
Yeah. Okay. Because here they are. These are, okay, I found the other question that I had, because this one has to do with the ghost. Christina says, I 100% think he knew. Yeah, I think he totally did. Why else would he write these? Now, I get that, like, Jamie might think, well, but it won't happen exactly. But they point out, they're like, yeah, but how much of history do we actually know the exact dates? Because if someone ever messed it up, then that's all that we know. But it says this, like, is it Frank's ghost following Claire and Jamie? Which we, like, it is. It is. Yeah. The dude describes him exactly, you know, like, they're explaining it. And then why would he follow Jamie as well? And, like, I also think that maybe he came to respect him a lot through his research about him.
Yeah.
And through, you know, the fact that, like, Claire would have, like, loved him this much. And in the same way that, you know, though they never brought it up, like, she does say that, like, he sent me to you to take care of, you know, Frank respects the, like, duty that he was given, is what I see. Like, I see that. So anyway, that's why, like, by the end of this series, which, I mean, where we're at, like, I have much softer feelings about him. It doesn't mean that he's meant to be with Claire. I have really soft feelings towards it by the end, because it's like, it was almost like a team effort kind of thing. Like, these are the two men.
Warns them, you know, what's going to come, and, you know, is trying to look out. I think it's like, also, it's, even though it's a complicated thing for him, it's Jamie's, his, you know, Bree's father. And, like, he knows that, you know, if she did go back, like, to, you know, that would hurt her to, like, lose her father or anything like that. So,
and again, like, he prepared them. He looked out for them. He, you know, made sure she had certain skills and that she knew certain things, and he wrote this book. And you know, I don't know. I have softer feelings towards him because he loved Bree and Claire. He did. And I think that they, like, pass each other the, like, stewardship of this family, you know? And in general, truly, I think that Jamie and Frank would have had some interesting discussions together. Like if they could actually talk and isn't just Jamie talking to all you bloody Englishmen, like he's things.
Because you see Jamie is respectful of who Frank was too, like when he talks about him. So it's like, I think they would have a common respect for each other.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, and he does always say, he's like, I have you, and he's dead. And so I have no need to like stomp him into the ground or take his memory. Like he never tries to do that. I think he's more, it's interesting to me because it's like, he's more jealous over LJG, the gay man sleeping with his wife,
than Frank.
and he was with Frank, who slept with her for how many years, it's like, there's different levels of this, but I think Frank is keeping an eye out for them. Exactly. And what does that tell us? That tells me that at the end of the road, it's Jamie's turn to go and look out for them later on. That's what it tells me. That's what the ghost is. I'm calling it.
Oh, yeah. That makes perfect sense.
Like, it's all a circle.
Well, and doesn't the Sachem guys see they're like also a young baby or child or whatever? So it's like, wouldn't that be Faith?
He says the girl. Like, he does.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, if it's a baby, how is she like with
a girl? Yeah.
Well, right, but I also don't know how ghosts are. Like, what does it look like? When he describes the like adult ghosts, like they're kind of like, how are they? Like, babies are literally just a baby floating behind her. I don't know. But to me, it also makes me think of like the times that they think about those people are the times that they're closest with them.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think the little girl shows up sometimes, is because they never stop thinking of her, right? Those times when he's seen this girl are the times when Claire's thinking of her. And I think that's when they come close. And like with Jenny, Ian's always constantly like with her because and even Jamie's thinking about Frank at times. So I think that when you're thinking of them, it's because they're there. Whether you're thinking of them because they're there or they come when you think of them, that's what is interesting. But I love it. It's all fascinating. It's all so fascinating. Okay, keep it moving. We're actually doing pretty good because I'm not touching on every little thing this time because we got enough stuff. I'm also like get so worked up. So here's one. We skip ahead to this little bit here. What do you think about Ulysses showing up?
I did not get this whole plot line. Like, I thought it was ridiculous. And then with the end, it like is also, I'm like, was it summed up? Like, where they had the right papers? I was so confused. And I'm like, I didn't think Ulysses was that type of character. I thought they ended on, and I'm like, so why was she doing that to this character? I thought we would just, he's freed, he's off doing his thing. And so I was like, why did we have to add this?
I know. It feels weird, but when you will, like, if you do a reread someday, which for me, like, I was paying attention to him this time around even more because he does leave on a spiteful note because he's forced to leave. He's had a run of this house for how many years, right? He's technically free. He's pretending not to be so he can be with her. But is he, they make it sound like he doesn't care about any of the children he's had. He says they were slaves. I didn't care about them. Like he straight up says that. He's probably responsible for the death of more than one person. He he's a bad dude. Like Jamie doesn't say awful things to him at that time, but he does say like, if you come back, if you're around my aunt, like I'll end you. Like you can go. Like go. But if I see you again, like no. And he's a greedy in some aspects and he's spiteful in some aspects. And I think that he feels cheated out of the things he had earned by being, beside.
Do you think he loved Jocasta at all? Like, or like, because I thought he did, but maybe. Yeah.
I don't know when you look back because a lot of the things he did, if you loved her, like why?
Yeah.
Why were you having children with other slave women if you loved her?
Yeah.
Like, why were you doing all that? If you loved her for how many years? Like, why were you doing that? As far as we know, she's never slept with anyone but him. Like, she didn't even sleep with someone for other husbands. She was like with him, So I think that when you like reread and you see, he puts on a mask. Like, he wears a mask in that. And granted, has the life he's lived probably led him to that? Probably, right? I'm completely that. But anyway, where I was going with this, I think he feels like he was cheated out of his basically like behind the scenes mastership. And so it's like, what's a way that I can take something from the Frasers? Well, I know something about him and I can do this. I truly think he's spiteful like that. I do. And that's what he does. So the answer to, do I think it gets wrapped up well? No. Like, and that's on the Reddit too. Like, the person accidentally sent him something written on the thing they needed. Like, did that person do it on purpose? That's what I'm not sure. I'm not
I was
sure.
confused by it when I was listening to it. I was like, wait, I don't know what's happening.
What I think happened is that person knows what it is, but they needed to make it not look like an official document to send it in, because it could have been like caught by someone. So by sending it back, like all like not looking good, is how it was able to get to him. But it's still just so odd. But I don't know. It's another example of Jamie being like, people being kind to someone they don't need to be. This was literally someone on the opposite side who then does them a solid, you know.
That comes back to haunt him again, like from him being kind.
Well, no, it's him. They're kind to the guy who got injured with him, and that guy sent it to him. So sure, like Ulysses might have tried to bite them in the back for being kind, but they still get that back by being kind to one of his soldiers. Is how they get it back. So it's an example of them doing a good thing that comes back to help. And that's how I read it. Like, first, I let him go and he's come back to me, but they're able to hurt that guy. They're able to take it down, and then they get it back by him, like one of his men feeling betrayed because they just left him there to be injured and be, like, they don't know Jamie killed that guy for being there, and instead they heal him and like help him go. And so then that guy does him a solid and sends it back.
See, now that all makes sense, because I felt like I was so confused by the whole thing. I was like, I don't even know what is happening here.
It is really confusing, but that's how I read it, is that guy did know what that thing was, but he uses it as the wrapping paper around the, like, I think it's a stone he's sending to Claire or whatever, is like he uses it as that so that it won't get like intercepted, because now it just looks like it. That's how I read it anyway. It was used as that.
So do you think that's all summed up? Like, it won't be an issue in like the future book? Like, that's what I was wondering.
Well, here's this question. This is one of the ones that they put,
because I'm like, is it solved now? Is it okay? Like, I don't know.
The ridge is safe now that the paperwork is back. My answer is, I think it is, because now if they come, he'll say, this is the ownership of Rit, like I own it, and it's owned by the person. So
yeah,
that is the question. Is it all good? Are we good now?
Yeah, because I thought, like, is this going to continue? I don't know, because I was so confused.
I think it will be, because if he were to have the balls to show up again, Jamie's like, I have the ownership of this. It's signed by the person. What are you going to do? And it's like, now that he has it, I think it counts. And like Ulysses knew that it did. That's why he tries to, like, he grabs it out of the fire, and then he tries to hide it when they take him down. So anyway, I think that issue in itself will be okay for now.
Okay.
We're good. But anyway, that's there's a few more to hit on here. Let me go back a little ways. We need to touch on them real quick here. Okay, now we'll talk about a few of the storylines happening outside of the Ridge before we come back to end with that. So what do you think that Brianna warms William up to the Frasers more? What do we think of their interactions?
I thought it was good. I think it was nice for him to like kind of see Jamie from another perspective, another child that, like you were saying before. I think it was really helpful, because it was like, he wasn't being so defensive and like angry with Bree, and they had like some good, like, I thought it was really good for them to talk. And she had like wanted to introduce herself way back when like Lord John Cray was like, no, but like, so she really wanted to know him. And so I really liked their interactions that they were able to have.
Yeah. One of the other comment that I saw too, I think that like William also has some goodwill, pun intended, built up after the Jane situation, and Jamie putting Francis in without a question. To me, it shows that he trusted Jamie, that he would send this girl with him anyway, instead of sending her to like his stepdad. He could have sent her to John. John would have also taken care of her. So it shows to me that he trusts her with her, and not to like judge her or anything. And I think, as we said, like book 8 to me is when William does the most growing. Like he has the most shit come down. He really like doesn't care about being a peer anymore. He keeps telling people, stop calling me this, stop doing that. I'm not. And I just think he does a lot of growing. I think he also, I mean, we'll talk about her. I have that question up next, but I just think he's getting more discerning and he's using his brain more about stuff. He's not as impulsive. And I think talking with Bree and her getting to share some of the good sides of him, as well as Lord John as well. Like she loves Lord John as well. And so getting to spend that time and see her and be kind of enamored with her and be like, and I don't mean in a gross way, just being like, wow, she's such a cool lady. Like I really think he looks, and people joke about it in the Reddit about how Diana makes things uncomfortable with people being attracted to relatives. And someone says it's like, yeah, but she makes you uncomfortable, so you want to keep reading about the situation. Like there's
like with Ian and his thoughts of Bree. So it's like,
well, I know, but also
but they're like way, off.
Like they could have been
other.
married at this time period. People were like, the queen marries her cousin. Like that's not. It wouldn't have been, honestly. And I love how they have this respect for each other as a man and a woman because of that. Because they were like, you would have been a good partner. Like I know you're a good person, type of thing.
Yeah.
Right? But I think it's fascinating because he just sees like what a brilliant person she is, how talented she is, how like, I don't know. She shows the best parts of it. And she's also able to relate because she's like, I had a stepdad too. And in my case, I didn't even know he was my stepdad. Like Lord John Grey, you knew he was your stepdad. You just didn't know.
And it's not like she reacted the best way either. Like they both had their immediate, reactions, and that's fine. Like, to work through it that way. I thought it was great too, seeing William like really grieve over Jane. And like, you could see how that really affected him. So I don't know, that really endeared me to him to see like how, that he was very affected by what happened to her. And he was, it wasn't like they were like into each other, but like he felt like protective and responsible for her. So for her, what happened to her was just so sad. And so I loved seeing him work through that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, and he likes to recall the moments of his childhood with Mac. I think that's good too. He taught you how to ride horses, and he taught you,
Yeah.
Sorry, guys, the alcohol always gets me. It's not even hot in my house, but that's what happens when you're allergic to alcohol. Have a little bit. That's what happens. But what else? Let's see. So then, okay, we'll stick with here. Okay, so what do we think of the Amaranthus, Ben, William triangle we got going on here? What do we think of Amaranthus, by the way?
I was like really suspicious of her because I was like, okay, so you were with Ben, you had a child with him, you're supposed to be grieving your dead, husband or whatever. I don't know if did they get married or did they just have the child together? I can't remember. No, okay, they're married. And then she's like, oh, well, you could marry me and then our heir could be. And so I was like, what's this girl up to? Like, but then she like really wanted to go back to Ben. Yeah. And so it was very confusing. And I didn't know, like, I was like, is William too naive to be able to deal with her or like that situation? Because also he is protective. And like what he went through with Jane, he also kind of wanted to help her out too, as things like when he ends up like proposing later after she goes after Ben. I don't know. It was a kind of a wild side story that was going on.
Yeah. This book, interesting, had some very, sorry, I'm saying the word again. This book had some very interesting juxtapositions of men abandoning their families as well as men taking in everyone who's not their family.
Yeah.
Because we have both, what's her face's husband, who was
Sylvia or
yeah.
I'm trying to remember her name.
Friend Sylvia's husband, who I had a question about it, but we'll just cover it right now. The absolute fucking gall of that guy to say, like, well, you got with someone else. And she's like, you got with someone else. And he's like, yeah, but you had a child with someone else. And it's like, yeah, what did you think was going to happen to me? Like,
how was I going to survive?
Well, what did you think she was doing? Like, sir, how was she supposed to take care of herself? So then to act like that, and not only that, to then say, oh, I want to take my 2 legitimate children and you can keep the bastard child and just go on your way. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, the absolute freaking gall.
Yeah.
Like, no.
So of course, Anne takes her in.
Also, like, who wants to be like Indian now or Native American.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, guess who's in charge with them? The women are. You think they're gonna just let you take someone's kids? Like, that's not how it goes. No. That's not how it goes. Like, oh, it's just so annoying. And then also, Emily handing over the baby, which we'll talk about her a sec. Like, her situation to me is the difference of some of them. But the fact that the new guy she wants to be with doesn't want her kids. So she's just going to be like, yeah, let me just send them with you. I mean, again, I have the most respect for her about it because she asked, like, she would have kept her kids there. She's just like, I think he'd be good with you. And, yeah, that's fine. But then also, just, like, granted with him, it's because he didn't want to make her a traitor as well. But, like, you didn't even try to really take care of her.
Yeah.
You're like, let me be a dead traitor then or whatever. And you thought, like, she would be good. So there was so many people, like, abandoning their kids in this.
Yeah.
And then, like, the Frasers are just like, well, we'll take them all. We'll take them all.
Take on more responsibility.
Like, you're going to have an army of people who have your back eventually. Like, that's great. But anyway, it was just so frustrating. So I have other questions to do this, but we'll just touch on all this now. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know if her feelings are super genuine for William. I don't know if I want William to be with Amaranthus. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whether I think she was truly using him or not, I think it was both. I think she does find him attractive. I think there is chemistry between them. But I also am like, are you just doing this for your kid? Because you don't have to marry William to have Trevor be taken care of. Like, Hal will not let anything bad happen to him.
Well, and it kind of sounded like she wanted like a future heir or whatever, like their kid together would be like the heir. And he just doesn't want anything to really do with that at this point. And so he was just kind of, I mean, they did have some type of chemistry. I just felt weird about it. I was like, I don't know. I just didn't fully like buy into her. And then, of course, he has to go off and chase her. And like, it's like another thing, another damsel for William to be like trying to go help. But I don't know. It was weird.
Yeah. Ruth, this is true. She had dreams of them. But my answer would be, get rid of that husband then. You've already gotten rid of a husband before. Why are you keeping a husband who's going to abuse your children? Right? Like, it's not the same as the other women in this world who, like, can't leave their husband. Emily's actively left a husband. She can. And their people take care of her. Her people wouldn't abandon her. They'd also believe her if she said, I had a dream this is going to happen, so I can't be with this guy. They would believe her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Emily...
that was super odd to me that she just gave the kid. I was like,
I don't disagree. She's doing it to protect him. So again, that's why I said I don't look at her the same as I look at those two men who abandon their wives. But I also am like, if you had a dream of them harming each other, why are you staying with that man? Like, that would tell me you're not with a good man if they would harm each other. But yet you gave up Ian, who is the best of men, because
the best man.
Him, So anyway, she's at a different place in her life. That's fine. It's cool.
Ian will take care of it.
I'm like we have him. So anyway, again, I'm not putting her in the same category. My point is the pattern of people giving up their children and the Frasers taking them in. That's more of what I mean. I definitely won't hold them all to the same like line of how I feel about you. But I do kind of think like,
I did love it when Sylvia was like, I divorced thee, I divorced thee. Like, I was like, get him, like.
Yeah. And you know me, I am a little bit tipsy and vocal, so I'm not trying to come across as yelling either, by the way. So I know, like I don't have bad feelings towards Emily. I'm just kind of like, I don't know
I
if
was
maybe
just
she's thinking that as
surprised. I
an
was like,
excuse. Like, I don't understand, you know what? But I'm like, you again, I go back to like, you gave up a husband because he wasn't what you wanted. Why would you keep this guy if he's
yeah,
made
you gave up a husband because he didn't give you a child. And then like you're giving up the child. Like it just confused me. I was like, I didn't expect that.
I'm appalled. Yes, I know you mean.
Yes.
You mean appalled, right? I applaud.
Applauded?
I applaud. Well, because then she corrected it and said applaud. Do you mean appalled? Appalled. Let me read it. I am appalled by Ben's behavior. I've read all of the LGG books and all the novellas, and Hal and Dottie are close to my heart for some reason, but Ben being a bad apple. Okay, so you are saying appalled.
Okay.
Because you said I'm applauded, and then you said applaud. So I think you mean appalled. I'm sorry if
but
you
then she put applaud.
like, yeah, I meant that. Okay. Well, that's what I thought, because I was like, you corrected the word and it's still the same word, but probably auto. Sorry. Again, a little bit. So yes. Yeah, Ben, I don't know what the hell is up with him. I'm really glad that they had a punching happened, and
yeah, I like the fight.
Because like, yes, I want him to be on the side of the revolution, like, yeah, but also at the cost of your kid and wife, like,
and like family and everything.
It's tricky because I do think it's true. Like what he said, he's like, we'd be a traitor. My dad would disown me and he would lose the chance. But if I'm dead, then he's the heir. So like, he's not wrong about it. The point is him being like, he's moved on to another lady, right? Like there's so many of these dudes have just moved on to another lady.
Because Amarantha wasn't her idea for him to do like the death thing. But I think she didn't expect him to like go be with some other chick. Yeah. Immediately. So
right. You did it so easily. So okay. Covering Rachel here. Back to her. My sweet Rachel. I love her. Do you think Rachel was truly okay with works with her hands giving Augie his new name? I think yes. That's my answer. I love that scene. I'm sorry. I love that scene. And that she names him Hunter and doesn't even know that was Rachel's name. Like that is so, and it would totally fit a child of Ian too. So him being named like Hunter, I love it. Like I truly do. And I think it's so beautiful because no names felt right. Like no names felt right. And then her being like, like he had named this little boy like you name our child. And I love the name that she picked too. Like it just is so good. I actually love that. It's the best thing that Emily does, in my opinion. And yeah, it's such a weird thing too, because I think the characters in the book all believe that Ian is his son. I think we've all said it. But I don't fully like get that still. Like, I don't know. I don't know if he's the child of his spirit or if he's actually his. I don't know. They're saying he is.
Yeah, because I didn't know for sure. And then they were saying he's like his son. So I was like, oh, okay, I guess it is his son.
If she didn't like the name, it would be a different story. Right. It works because she does give a very thoughtful name. She gives a very thoughtful name. But also because, again, like it does show the wisdom and like the connection with the spirits that the natives have, because not only do we then get like the sachem who we're going to bring back with us, which love him and him pursuing Jenny so much. And I kind of love that he sees the spirits too, because he can like see, like Ian wants good for Jenny, and like I don't know, I kind of love it that he wants to pursue Jenny. And
I know, I didn't see that coming. I was like, oh, that's so awesome, like to see Jenny.
I know. I forgot about that one. I remembered Bobby and Sylvia. Like I remembered that one because I love the scene, skipping ahead a bit. Like I love the scene where the two families are like, we want you to get married. Like the kids are all like, we want you to be together. With the like, because I think it's like 3 boys and there's 3 girls. Like I think that's what it was. He has, because there's Aiden who was Amy's, and then they have 2 other boys together, I think. So it's like they're gonna be like, what is it? What's the show? The Brady Bunch. They're gonna be
Brady
like
Bunch.
there, which is so cute. I just love them. So yeah, I still don't understand that. Yeah, I don't know what's up, but okay, who else here? Honestly, I've skipped over a lot of the war stuff. Let me see if there's any more about the characters, and then we'll finish off with like the battles and everything. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't have too much else to say about like Ian and Rachel and them, because they're all of it is about the journey. They find out about, I guess he does end up going to that brothel. What information does he get from there? I don't even remember.
I don't even remember. Like, I was like, did he even get anything there? I was like some weird captain with like an accent, or like some weird, I don't know if it was a Spanish. I kind of like went right out after I read it.
Yeah. Because I feel like I know the answer to this, because when I was looking up the stuff about Faith, I read a quote, but I don't remember reading it when I was reading the book. But I believe Ian basically confirms that like the lady's name, like it wasn't, like it couldn't be, like it's that stuff of like confirming that it's true, if I'm correct. Captain that dropped the girls off or something. Yeah, so they were already dead. And the point of it is that if it was ever Faith, she was already dead. So what would be the point of it having been their daughter if we don't ever get it? Not only would Jamie and Claire have missed on raising her, they would have missed her altogether, you know? And I think that's what he like confirms, is that even if it had somehow been their baby, why would Master Raymond have transplanted her somewhere and she's like nothing with her? And then they have these 2 kids and then he died. Like, it just confirms that it was really shitty, because those 2 girls ended up there way too soon, and both Jamie and Amy had to be there, and it was awful that they had to be there. Like, just all around. Let's see. Okay, here we go. So we better touch on this part here. So this is the part that's like a bit confusing to me the first time, and it's confusing now. So what do we think about Richardson being a time traveler who's trying to stop America from winning the war, with the reason supposedly being slavery. Which I was like, huh.
I was totally confused by his reasoning when like he was telling Lord John Grey everything. I was like, slavery? Like, for some reason I thought he was Scottish, but then I think he said something about his grandparent being, or was something that was like a slavery, and I don't know. I was totally confused by it. Like, and then I had no idea this Richardson guy was going to end up being one of these people that Bree was dealing with in the future. So that kind of surprised me. I was like, just thinking he was like some weird kind of spy that was getting involved in a bunch of different shit. But I don't know. Like that whole thing was very confusing. I don't know.
Yeah.
His motivations. And to go to these lengths, like.
Yeah. This being only the second time reading it, I truly think this is one, like I've said this, for me, understanding all the time jumps in books 7 and 8 took me like 4 reads to understand.
Yeah.
This is another one, like before the next book comes out, I'll have to reread this one and play that all together. Because obviously we end the book with like, he's being held captive by this guy, and William rides for help. But how long is John being held captive for then? Because it takes a long time to get out to the ridge. Like,
yeah, that's what confused me too, because a lot of stuff was going on, and I felt like there was time jumps in between what, like, because all of a sudden Bree was having a baby, and I was like, wait, I'm like, she's already having the baby? Like, I felt like that was a big time jump, but Lord John Grey was captured at that point, I thought. So that's when I started to get confused. I'm like, how long has Lord John Grey been like captured? But that might be me rushing through the book, you know, like I was trying to get through it fast.
Because I read this all in the ebook this time. I mean, that does happen often in her books. Like, she did that with Mandy too. Like, she found out she was pregnant. Yes, she's captured by what's his face in the middle, but then they skip to her having the baby and Claire finding out there's something wrong with the baby. So like, often. That's nothing new.
I just thought it would have been good to see her and Roger through that time, you know, like considering I love the conversation they had about like when he immediately jumped to like, oh, you're pregnant when she's going through all of her heart arrhythmia, like weird stuff. And then like later him being like, I would never I wouldn't want you at risk. Like, I just love that scene, like for another baby or anything. And I really love them in these last few books. Like,
I know.
So,
they're so cute. I love them so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry, Amanda. I want to have a drink and this is what happens. It does. I'm just usually not on camera when it happens, so it's fine. Okay. This question too, like, do we believe that LJG believes in time travelers now?
I don't know. I thought he would. I always got confused because I was like, I always forget like who knows about Claire, you know, and I get like mixed up. And I'm like, I thought he would have known about Claire by this point. But then like with his reaction, it was like, no. And it seemed like he just thought this guy was crazy. Yeah. And like he still wasn't buying it, which I wanted him to buy it so he would realize, you know, how big of a deal this whole Claire and Bree disappearing with Roger and then them coming back. Like, you know, I don't know. Nope, I'm hoping he realizes it's real, like in the next book.
Yeah, I don't think that he knows. Okay, so rounding this off, like kind of with the stuff on the ridge. So we have some more very dangerous moments with Jamie. And this is one of the questions they ask is like, why do we think Jamie would go to this mountain knowing he might die there? Because they're trusting Frank. We know where the battle's going to show up. We're making the way for this one. He had was sure that he had to go there. My like personal thing is that like he did die. I believe that he died. I think Claire saves him from it here. There's the scene where like all of a sudden the bullet is like in her mouth.
Yeah, that confused me.
I think that she saves him here. And I think the reason we see her, we have the discussion of if Raymond could have saved Faith. We have her saving the baby. Like all of it's been building to this. Like, I think that even maybe according to like Frank, like if Claire hadn't been there, I think that's where he dies, in my opinion. And from all of the near deaths that happen in this one, this is how I felt when I read this first time. I truly think that death was like the last life, but then Claire saves him. That's my own take. Feel free to anyone discuss it.
Yeah.
But for me, him choosing to go there, him getting everything set up, he makes sure the will is set up, he makes all that. I think he thinks that Frank has kind of tipped him off to where it is. Maybe not meaning because he's trying to drive Jamie to go there to die, but I think it's almost a warning of like, this is a battle that like it's going to be bad. So avoid it if you can. But instead he is like, no, like I have to go. I have to do it. Or we might not win, But I think that to me, I think Jamie does die there, and I think it was the last life because there's a lot. He has a lot of them in this one alone. I think there's 3 or 4 in this one, and they've really ramped up. And so, to me, I think that it was, and this is the first time Claire's actually had to use her power to truly like save him. Like in previous times, her skill has been enough to stop it on its own, and this is the time that it is. Yes. And I believe that by the end of this book, I think her hair is.
Yeah. I think you said it wasn't all the way white. There was some like a little bit, but she was pretty much mostly white. I think that Jamie had to go too, because like the guy's like letters were getting a little bit more threatening about like him not doing this. And I think that if he didn't go, like all of his people would be in danger. And so like Jamie throughout the like having the ridge and everything just takes the responsibility of that whole community on. And so he knew he had to do it and to protect his family. And I gotta say, like, I didn't know if this was the last book.
I know.
And so I was about to like, I was listening to the book on my way to work and I had to go into work and it was this death scene.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went to work and everyone's like, oh, good morning. And I was like sitting in my cubicle and I was listening to it. And I was like crying because I was like, if she freaking, I'm like, is Jamie going to die? Like, I didn't know. Like, I was so scared that like Jamie was going to die. And that was like the end of the series or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so, oh my God, she got me. Like, I got so emotional in that scene.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
But so it was very powerful.
I was really sure the first time I read it too. I was the last 50 pages I was, he's doing all of the things. He's preparing his role, he's listing all it out. He's getting this like sense of peace of like listing out all of his children and writing down what they'll get, and he's feeling this like, okay, if I go, like they'll be okay, like it's all right. And so you just don't know, But
well, like him getting bit by another snake, I'm like, come on, like why? And so I'm just like,
I think the snake saves him though, is kind of the thing. Like I think that, like, I don't know. When I re-listened to the scene, like I think the snake bite kept him from worse injuries other places.
Yeah.
Because it made him like stumble and fall. Like, and if it hit him somewhere else, I think he'd be dead. So, anywho, that's like my take is that yes, I don't think but when she asks about her hair, it's like a bit earlier on in the book. And you know how sometimes a stressful event can actually push people's hair like all the way.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's all speculation. Maybe it'll be discussed more like later. Like we'll look at it. But I think that all the different things that have happened in this one of her, saving the baby and her kind of getting a feel for that it's possible. And she was so desperate to do it for this baby that it pushed her into it a little more.
Because she was trying to do it with Roger a little bit too. And like, so that's what I felt like the whole faith thing was the whole faith thing was like this journey of her grief, then leading to saving the baby, then the blue, like her, like thinking about the blue light and Master Raymond. And then like, so I was like, oh, all this was like to kind of lead up to her realizing she had this power and that she could save Jamie.
And where it comes at from me is that there needed to be a scenario. And to me, the babies are the scenario. That her medical skill can't do it. Because any other time in any other thing, she's been able to use her medical skill. She's been able to, do a little something that it's miraculous in of itself, but it's still a medical miracle, right? This, that case with that baby is like the baby's gone. Like she was still feel like she could feel the baby in the room, but like there's no medical thing I can do to make the baby back. So she looks at this baby and like Jamie's like, is this what she would have looked like? They're having this emotional moment over it. And then she's like, no, this isn't happening. And she takes the baby back from him and is just like, there's nothing to lose. There's absolutely nothing to lose. And so she's able to do it. And I think that if she doesn't get pushed to it at that point and know that she can, even if she doesn't understand, she can, I don't think she's able to save Jamie at the end. Because again, I think that he died. And I think that it was done. But she's like, no, like I'm not doing this without him. And she's able to. And I don't think that without all of those things and without her like thinking on it, that she would have had the faith to take the extra step, because she very much will be like, she really leaves the faith part of it to Jamie, like pun intended. Like she leaves part of it to Jamie. Not that she isn't like believed, but when it comes to her medicine, she is about the facts, and that's what. But I don't know. It's crazy. So I had to go to the last page ahead to see if it was a happy note. I know.
Like I was like crying, like I was like sniffling at my desk, and I'm like, and like luckily somebody else at work like reads the Outlander series, so I was like, but they haven't gotten to this book, so I was like, oh, I just
also say to everyone here, I will not tell you if one of them is actually dead. Like I'll give you a content where if you want to know, but I would never never let someone do that with that. Like, I'm sorry. I'm not a cruel woman. I would not let you do that. I won't warn you about other deaths beside them, but if it's Jamie or Claire who says the
Well,
final,
then I'm like, they can't end. They can't end the
tell you.
series like that, right? They're just like gonna kill him off. I'm like, I'm like, can't we end on like a happily ever after? Like, I can't. Like, if they,
I know.
I can't lose Jamie.
But she gets you. I do like that she was able to get me because I was like,
Yeah.
that can't be what it is. So
Yeah, because like honestly, like the other, you're always like, oh, Jamie will be fine. And like this time, I was like, oh, is this it? Like I was very. I got emotional. So then I was very happy when he was okay.
I know.
I was like, oh my God.
It's a good moment and I just love it. But yeah, to me, all of her coming into her full power and be able to do it led to her being able to like save him. And
yeah,
this is the one though, you guys, like they're old now. Like he's old in multiple ways.
Like I don't think he can do it again.
Old, like he takes the most beating in this one that he does since like Wentworth, man. Like the man ever loving snot beat out of him. I asked Diana on Twitter if Claire would meet Master Raymond in a future book, and she said it's a possibility. Well, it's also
I would love more Master Raymond, you know, like because he's such a mystery. Like
she's always said we would get a book about him. So whether that means it's the one where, you know, she could be meaning we'll get a book from him and we'll see him come across her.
Yeah.
Or whether it's a book about Jamie and Claire and we see him again. I don't know. But I believe it. Like she's promised us things about him. She's also promised us the What Frank Knew book. So that is something she's promised to do too, is What Frank Knew. Which honestly, as I said, I think I can mostly put that picture together with this.
Yeah.
I think he was driven by kind of anger and by the historian wanting to prove that Claire lied. So that he had a reason to leave her. Like personally, like if we really, I think he wanted a reason to leave her and like take Bree and like be gone. And then as he dug into it, he kept finding things. And at first he doesn't tell her because he's like spiteful. And then eventually he did it because he's like, no, like my family will be here again. Whether that is found a clue that it would or whatever. But I do think that that he knew and I respect him a lot for how he did certain things. So, you know, but we'll see. There is a short. Yes, I have seen this one. After Old Land's death. Yes. I have the book with all those ones. Okay, let me see. Okay, so now of course I know we didn't get to everything, but we're at 2 hours. So let's kind of say this with I mean, I was kind of listing some. So what are some people's predictions for the final book? Like, what are some predictions that people have?
I guess my main thing is how William shows up at the end to ask for his help. So I feel like they're going to go on a journey together to try and save Lord John Grey. And then I'm hoping that leads to the reunion of all of them and him and Lord John Grey being good. You know, that's the only predictions really I have because I have no idea, but where Diana will take us. But I think that'll be really good to see him and William have to go on this journey together and like kind of like a quest where that's going to bring them together and resolve all their kind of stuff.
Yeah. I want the book to end with everybody at the inauguration of George Washington.
Yeah, I want to get to like, because my mom and we were arguing because she's like, oh, it has to end with like Jamie dying, right? And I'm like, no, like we could end with it being the end of the war and they're in a good place and we're all at Fraser's Ridge and we're all happy. Like that's what I want.
Yeah, you don't end with showing us the end because that's how any happily ever after works ever. You don't show the people dying. Like they'll die someday, but we don't need to see. I think it ends with something like that. And then we have like a flash to the future of someone opening a book and it's the tale of Fraser's Ridge or whatever written by Fergus Fraser or something like that. Like there'll be some little.
We'll see Jamie's ghost at the end in the future.
But as to like story-wise guesses, yeah, I do, I want us to end with them going to that. We're still a few years off for sure. And what else? What else do I want to like see? I don't know. I want to see a scene of them actually telling Lord John everything.
Yeah.
Like after they rescue him, I want them to be like, "Hey, come back. Get a whiskey. Let's tell you what's going on," because he'll deserve to know by then. I think we need to kill which other people are coming after them.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I think it could also end with long after their like families have died, you know, which would be okay. Again, I know they will die. I don't want to see it. Like, I know it will happen. I think it would be cool if it ended with like Jem and Mandy, like as grown-ups, like in the future again. And we don't get introduced to them, but like we meet them or something. Like, I'd be cool with the flash forward scene to that of like they've lived their life or whatever. I do believe also that all of these books are their stories written down. So that's why I think like there could be, and we already have a little peek of this, right? Because Jamie wrote a book that was for his kids, like the grandkids that they read to him. So I really think that could be there. So I don't know. Those are kind of some that I have. Fergus and Marceline no longer in danger. Well, yes, I definitely hope we see that. I definitely hope. Well, that's where I was going. I was like, I think I wanted to end in the past times. I wanted to end with like George Washington being president, and then Fergus gets to print like a paper that says we've won. Like, I see that he'll like get to give to them. I want that. Otherwise, it's just a lot of little things. I don't know what she's gonna do. I'm terrified. I don't envy her. She's written us this fantastic series, and I'm terrified.
Like, how do you end it? Like, that's so much weight on your shoulders with like such a huge following. Like, you know, like how do you make everybody happy?
Yeah.
Like,
oh, Ruth, we're gonna do book club for it. Come on. I review and talk about every book in the series. We will. Even if it's 5 years from now and I've left
we're doing it.
Pop back in for us to have a chat. I promise I will. I'm hoping it won't be forever that long, but we'll see. We shall see.
It's not like me waiting for the next Game of Thrones book where it's never coming. It's never coming.
She posts the clips of it. Okay, let me see if there was any other. Oh yes, of course. I was going to ask this now. Now that we've made it through book 9, we have to ask the question to round this off here. What was your least favorite and most favorite book of the series? Now that we've read them all.
God, it's hard to pick a favorite though. Like,
I know.
I don't know. It's so hard. I know my least favorite was Fiery Cross.
Yeah.
So that one's an easy one, but it's so hard because I don't know if a lot of people like the first one, but like it's just nostalgic to me of like reading that one. Like I just really love it, but there's so much more that gets introduced later in the books of all, you know, with Bree and stuff and Roger, that it's just like,
yeah,
I don't know.
I would say honestly, for me, it's probably Dragonfly and Amber is kind of my least favorite one. I really don't like France, and I really don't like dealing with building up to him dying. So I think Fiery Cross is too long, and that's why so many people don't like it. I think there's stuff that could really be cut from that. But I think that Dragonfly and Amber, when I really look at like content of it, because Fiery Cross still has some of my favorite scenes. Like it has some, when I make a list of like my favorite scenes of the series, there are some from that in it. And Dragonfly and Amber, honestly, like Jamie and Claire aren't my favorite versions of themselves. Obviously not. They're going through a lot of stuff. And though, of course, I love the intro of Roger. I adore him with my whole heart. I love Roger Max so much.
Yeah.
But there isn't that much of him, you know, like the stuff that gets good with him is in book 3 and 4 is when we really get to meet him. So I think that for story-wise, like Dragonfly and Amber is my least favorite just for the pain we go through. Though, as I will say, it has some of the most consequential moments that will follow us always.
Yeah.
It's the one I least ever want to reread, and it has no parts I'm like excited about. So for least favorite, it would be that one. Let me see some of these. Still, aside from the first, I feel like they're all just equal. Yes, they're pretty good.
I had a hard time with Voyager too, because like, I think this is like, that's when I quit after the Voyager, because I was like, oh my God, it takes like half the book. Let's like just get back to Jamie. Like, and then it was like so much of like this travel stuff. So that's when I kind of was like, oh, okay, I'll get back to it later. But I mean, it's not bad. It's not horrible. I just think I was impatient to be like back with Jamie and them together, you know?
My favorite is still Drums, and my least favorite is Dragonfly. Yep.
Yeah, I was just looking at them. I love Drums. That was so good.
There's been parts that I really enjoyed and parts that I was bored in each. Yes, absolutely. Most favorite is Breath of Snow and Ashes. Least is Voyager. It's so hard to pick up. It's so hard to pick. Yes, very true. Oops.
Yeah.
But also Go Tell the Bees is up there the longer I see with it. That's your favorite. You're saying the ones that are up there with your favorite. Your least favorite is this. But Fire Cross is up there. And so, yeah. So it's difficult. I generally usually put Ashes as my favorite as well, because I love the character development of all the characters in that one. And it's the one when we're kind of like all together the most in that one. Yeah. Besides, honestly, like, I mean, this one is really good too. But yeah, I usually have book 6 and 4 are my favorites. Like when I make lists, those two go back and forth. Though on this reread, I think it's Ashes. I think it's Ashes this time, because in Drums, Brianna and Roger kind of annoy me because they're just becoming them. Like I don't hold it against them, absolutely, but to me, in Ashes, we see some of the best of every character in that book. See some of the best of Jamie and Claire and like stuff Claire goes through. I do love the stuff with the Christies. It's this twisted soap opera on the Rit. Like I love that.
Yeah, I love the Christies.
I love that suspense. Yeah, I love the ridge growing. I love Bree getting closure with the pirate. I love. So there are so many important character moments that happen in A Breath of Snow and Ashes, and everybody's just like, I don't know that. So yeah. That one for that. Drums means so much because I love when Bree and Jamie and like when they all get to meet. But
that's what I think makes that so special. Like,
but Bree isn't the character that I love best. So
she's frustrating there.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, Ashes is the one that I get like all of that. But yeah, my least favorite, as I said, I do think it is Dragonfly and Amber, because the more that I read Fiery Cross, it still takes a long time, but it has stuff I really like in there as well. So yeah.
I think it took me the longest to get through, and I was like struggling with it, and I think that's why. But I bet on a reread it wouldn't be as bad. It was like that long, like, you know, whatever, where they're all together, the gathering like went on, and I was just like, oh my God. But I was looking at the Breath of Snow of Ashes, and I think like that was like when I was like, this is my new favorite in the series. Like everything Claire went through, like I think that was probably the best one. Like honestly, because I remember crying a few times in that, and it was just very moving. Like, and they're all like amazing in that book. So that's.
Yeah. No, I think so. And honestly, too, the same with who had just said it. Now, where'd it go? Oh, where'd it go? Yeah, what Amanda said. Like, honestly, as I've said, like, this is only the second time I've read Bees, and I really like this one. Even though I don't have as much of Jamie and Claire, like, what I love, and I bring this up in so many of, like, there was still, like, adjustments in their relationship. Like, they're fighting a bit about stuff, but they're also reconnecting, and the politics of the Ridge, and, like, how Jamie protects everyone, even when he's not physically the strongest anymore, how he has to use like his brain to come up with it, and the way that he trusts his men, and the way that he is so gentle and protective of everyone. Like we didn't even get to talk about it, like the way he was with Frances, and now he's like, I'm not going to call her Fanny. That's the name of a whore. She's Frances. And showing like such respect for her and being like, no one's going to touch you ever. I'll cut him up. No one can have you. Like
there were so many special moments with them, with Frances. I really loved that.
Yeah, we didn't even bring up like Agnes goes with the Cunninghams and gets to pick which hands you can have, like all that stuff. We just put that.
That was some crazy stuff.
That's just a crazy scene when they go to drag the guy out of the landslide and he's like, you can't save him, like pushes her down the hill. And then that's when the Sachem and Ian show up.
Yeah.
Like, Jamie's trapped in the house, and then she's like, I want to see Jamie's face when he sees you. Like that's such a cute moment.
Yeah.
Ian's back and she's like, I gotta see his face when he sees you. He's gonna be so happy. Like I just love stuff like that.
Yeah.
This book was just full of all the little moments too. So yeah. And I think my final thing too, and because I am like William has grown on me so much by the time we get to this one, and getting to see Roger interact with Fergus, like without Jamie, like all these different characters are matched up that normally aren't. Like there's so many of those little moments in this one. That is what I love about the other books too. So I think that's cool that someday this one could be a favorite too, because there's just so many good things in it. I've only read it twice, so I'm still ready to keep Ashes as my favorite, but let's see this here. Breath of Snow and Ashes is my favorite, and the least is Fiery Cross. Yes, it is. But all right, let us wrap this up. It's probably one of the shortest ones we've had, but there are a million other things we could pick apart and talk about in this one. It's time to wrap it up, and I'm just thank you to everybody who's been around since the beginning, or if you joined midway through too, that's fun. But Amber, thank you for co-hosting this with me.
Thank you.
At different points, because I would have been just lonely up here all this time.
Well, I'm so happy because it got me to finally like do this, like, and not just keep putting it off. So I'm so happy. It's like sad. It's like great, but bittersweet, because it's like now we're waiting for the next one.
Did I win anyone over that this is the greatest love story of all time?
Yes.
I think
top book boyfriend ever. Yes.
I graciously shared him with all of you. You're welcome. He's the best. There's the cream of the crop in here. There's plenty to pick from all the way.
Yeah.
Roger Mack wins me over more and more every time. Like he's brilliant. But
yeah.
All right, everyone. We'll wrap this up. Thank you so much for being here. And yes, I do promise we will be back when the next book comes. I don't know when it is, but honestly, knock on wood, I don't think it'll be too long before it's announced, because she's thrown some hints that she's getting close. That doesn't mean it couldn't still be like 2 years or so, but I think we're getting close. Oh, one final thing. Sorry. Did anyone catch the Katrina call out in this one? Because Katrina was in this one.
No.
Sam Hewen exists the guy Hewen exists in book 8, but there was someone named Katrina in this one who is spelled the same as Katrina's name. I don't know if anyone caught it. Sorry, I meant to say that. But those books were book 8, they were just casting, and so she put a Hewen in that one. He's a dirty talking like Smith or something like that. He cusses all the time. And in this one, there's a Katrina that's spelled like Kat's name. So anyway.
Oh, wow. That's so cool.
I know. You'll have to. I'm glad I was like listening, because I was like, oh, Katrina, I think that's spelled. And so I looked up the chapter. And I was like, yep, that's her name. Okay. Good night, everyone. Have a great evening.